Colleagues, good afternoon. I trust you well, and thanks again for joining us. We appreciate your time. As promised, I've got Scrum Coach Julian Redelinghuys and left winger Edwill van der Merwe. Guys, we've got about, Jules, how much time? 80, 10 minutes? 15?
Perfect, dankie Chopper.
I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. Wait, Jules, let me... Okay, cool. I think we're ready to go. Let's start with hands, guys. I see Ashfaq, your hand is up. So you can kick us off, please.
Thanks, Kelly. So, hi, Edwill. Hi, Julian. Hope you're well there. Edwill, the people in Cape Town are calling for you to come home, man.
I am home.
Yeah. How's it been there with the Lions? You know, obviously, you guys are still in the playoff race there with the win at the weekend, and you need to keep winning. But just in terms of your own personal form and the past few seasons at the Lions, how do you feel at the moment?
Sammy, do you guys also hear the
Yes, really bad echo, yeah.
But also no better.
I've just removed you, Julian. You were on here twice. I've removed you.
I'm on there twice. Wow. Okay. Thank you,
Better
Sammy.
now.
Yeah, much better. Go for it, Ed.
Sweet. No, very good. Obviously enjoying my time in Joburg, and really where we are as a team is quite a special place. As you mentioned, we're fighting for a playoff spot. And obviously last weekend's result put us in a good place. But obviously this week is a new challenge and something we have to face from 0-0 again. So yeah, looking forward to this weekend's game, and obviously giving our best and fighting for that top 8 spot.
And obviously the Lions' style of play also suits your game, Edwill, giving the ball some air and giving you some space out wide. You must be enjoying that kind of approach.
Yeah, no, it's very good. I think if you look at the kind of tries that we score, it's off, we call it Java opportunities, where the opponents make mistakes, and it's something we really work hard on to finish those opportunities. Obviously, this last weekend we lost a few balls in the opposition 22, but that's something we're looking to rectify and scoring even more tries. So yeah, definitely enjoying the style that we play, moving the ball around, and that's something I really enjoy.
Just one more from me, Edwill, in terms of bigger picture going forward. I know you're focusing on the Lions, but a lot of people feel you're now ready and actually should have been in the Springbok squad already before. Have you had any communication from the Bok coaches and management, or how do you see that situation?
No, I've had no communication with them. So yeah, really not sure about any of that. So for me, it's just focusing on the Lions and doing my best for the team, and whatever happens. It's not really in my hands. I always say, do your best and God will do the rest. So yeah, that's our, yeah.
Thanks, Ashfaq. Morgan?
Thanks, Nisa. How's it, Julian? Hi, Edwill.
Hi.
Hello,
Julian,
Morgan.
is it tougher to play against a team coached by a South African with a deep knowledge of a team like Lions, and especially one that's a bit wounded after the performance at Loftus last week?
Yeah, that's a good question, Morgan. I think it was interesting to see there's actually a lot of South African coaches coaching foreign teams. You got Coach Sean Everett, you got Coach Jock, obviously, at Leinster, and you got Coach Franke now with Glasgow. So there's a lot of South African coaches abroad as well. But yeah, obviously we know the style that Coach Franke had, even when he was still at Cheetah. So it is a little bit, I wouldn't say harder, but you've got a little bit more of an expectation as to what they will bring, because you've prepped against him. We've prepped against him for years, whether it was at the Cheetahs or now at Glasgow. So it's interesting. They are a well-coached team. Obviously, they're top of the log, based in attacking stats, based defensive stats. So really good coach team, really good players. No, so we're not taking the game lightly this weekend, not at all.
Edwill, and just for you, on that point of not taking the game lightly, how important is it also not to put too much pressure on yourselves and just go out there and play the game and do what you guys love doing?
Yeah, I think obviously as a player, there's a fine balance between the two. As you mentioned, you can't take it too lightly and you can't take it too serious. So as a player, your your prep during the week has to be good, and then also not just physically but mentally as well. How you prepare will ultimately put you in good stead on the weekend and for the match. And I think if you've been doing it for a while, you know what gets you going and what gets you ticking. And yeah, so obviously each player will have their own process, but the important thing is just to bring it collectively as a team.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Thank you, Morgan. Carl, welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning. How are you?
Hello, Carl.
Coach Julian, we've seen with Glasgow and other foreign teams, especially up here in Gauteng, that the last 20 minutes is not, they're playing better. I mean, are they better coached? Have they adapted better? Or is the whole thing about how high you are above sea level, is it just a joke?
No, that's a great question, because like you said, we've experienced teams. Okay, so I think it's dual in the sense of, from our side, if you rely on the altitude to win a game for you, you're going to make a mistake. So I think that's from your side, playing at altitude, or you expecting altitude to do it for you. That's not going to do the job for you. Then the guys coming from coastal to altitude, I think there's two methods. Some guys go like Munster, they went to Cape Town after playing at altitude, went to Cape Town for a week and then flew up on one day before the game. And other guys prefer to prep the whole week at altitude. So there's different methods there, but what a lot of the teams do that we find is they go to hyperbaric chambers. You've got chambers where you train in that adjust the altitude. So I think they come mentally confident for them to be able to play 80 minutes. So I think it's a big drive. If they come to altitude, I think it's a big drive for them to say, listen, we're going to be prepared for it and we will play 80 minutes. So I think in those two things, like you've seen with the Bulls this weekend, Glasgow didn't go lie down in the last 20 minutes. They actually made a step up. And if you look at the Ospreys that we played against here, same thing. So I hope that answers your question, Carl, but that's what we found.
And how fair do you feel is the accusations that they tend to get injured a lot more during the last 20 minutes to force rest and everything?
Are you asking if it's valid, the accusation? Then I'd say yes, it's valid. I think it is smart from them, but it is frustrating to us. But obviously frustration is uncontrollable. So we might as well then just use the rest as well. What the referees do say, which we do try to understand, is they are not medical people, so they can't say whether a player is injured or not. So what they do is they either have a hooker or front row sit down, because then the game can't go on, especially if it's their ball. So from our side, what we can do is to make as little as possible mistakes, so that all the set pieces more of the set pieces will be our ball, which means we control the pace of the game. Whereas, say like a game like Munster, where they made it slow, it was because we made mistakes. Then they have control of the pace of the game because it's their set piece. So I do think it is a strategy that they do use. I think it's smart. It is frustrating on our side, but we have to manage it as good as we can by controlling what we can control.
Appreciate a lot.
Thank you, Cole. We'll take Anami and then followed then by Ashfaq again.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Anami.
Julian, as the Scrum coach, what do you think of the new announcement by World Rugby to outlaw scrums from a free kick? You probably discussed this in depth this week, but maybe you can just tell us your thoughts. Do you agree with Nigel Owens that says it's depowering the scrum? I see Jake also had a few comments on that. Well, what is your view on it?
So were they in favour of the scrum still staying? I didn't read the articles. So
yes. Nigel Owens was saying, it's taking that role in the game away a bit. There are reasons to have scrums, and he also said players have different sizes, and that's why there are scrums. So
yes.
It's an interesting view.
Then I would say those two gentlemen know what they're talking about. Obviously, I will agree with that. I think and not a lot of teams have made use of the scrum specifically from a free kick. So by them taking that away, it's just giving Davian Willemse some TV time and air time. But yeah, obviously the scrum is a big part of the game, and yeah, if it wants to be like league where you have similar size guys and they play, it's different. But rugby, what we appreciate about it is every guy's got his place, and you got different players for different roles. And the scrum and the maul, I think the maul is also one point where everyone's always debating, but it's two places where you can legally get dominance, which is a massive part of rugby. So I'm glad, well, I hope they keep up with the scrums, because then I've got a job at least. Otherwise, I have to do something else.
Yeah, and then there was also something that's going to be trialed in the under 21 World Champs, where they're going to have a shot clock for the scrums. What is your view on that?
Anami, I must say, and there I will come up for a spectator, because the frustrating thing for everyone is when a scrum is reset like 3 times, the wingers on the edge, they want the ball, and now they're just looking at a scrum falling down and standing up again. So I think for us to manage, for the industry to manage the scrums and the process of the scrum, so it's still a good contest, but it doesn't take up ball in play time. Yeah, I think that's a good strategy, because you want ball in play to be as high as possible, to let these guys that have X factor do their thing, so that people want to watch the game, because that's ultimately how you generate income for the game. So yeah, I'm for that. A shot clock, I'm not sure if that's going to make a big difference. What's going to happen if the shot clock is empty, I'm not sure. So I haven't read that yet, but whatever strategies they put in place to make sure the scrums don't take up ball in play time, yeah, I think that is a good starting point.
Thank you very much, and good luck for this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anami. Ashfaq, and then Morgan.
Thanks, Nyani. So, Julian, I just want to add on to that. Do you still feel, though, even if they take the scrum option away from a free kick, that there's still enough time or scrums in a game to impose yourself on the opposition back and use it as a real weapon to get dominance?
Yeah, what we find, Ashfaq, and it's interesting. So the last 3 games, so Leinster, Munster, and Cardiff, on our own ball, we've only had, I think, 6 or 7 scrums in the 3 games. So it's an average of 2, just over 2. And on their ball, a little bit more. So it depends. So Munster didn't play against us, or Cardiff the same. They kicked the ball the whole time. So then you don't have the opportunity on your own ball, when your loose forwards are in, to dominate as much. So you have to dominate on their ball, which means their loosies are not standing up. So it is a bit of a thing, but there will always be scrums in the game. With us wanting to play the ball a lot, there is a little bit more errors than other teams, because we try to play expansive rugby, and then so there will be scrums because of that.
And just one for you, Edwill, on the laws, there's also one where the DuPont law apparently is now going to be outlawed, that you can't put a guy on side after running for 5 meters. I mean, that is something that you should enjoy. That will give you a bit more space to maneuver.
Yeah, no, obviously I enjoy a counter attack, so definitely looking forward to that one when it kicks in. I think it's on 1 July, so yeah, looking forward to that.
He's good with space as well, so it's fine.
Well, let's scrum work, Julie.
Hy kan scrum plank, dis hoekom ek sê hy sal met my vandag in die meet.
Edwill, just in terms of the Lions back 3, looking forward to this weekend's game. I mean, I know Richard might be a bit injured, but yeah, just your combination with him and Koan Horn and how it's been going this season, and an opportunity this weekend, because we know Glasgow also would like to play open running game.
Yeah, obviously, I think Richard and Koan are very exciting players. I really enjoy playing with them. I think we gel really well as a back 3. But obviously, we have other wings in the squad as well who are equally good and equally good finishers. So yeah, looking forward to this weekend, and yeah, I'm getting excited to get the ball in my hands and be involved a bit more in the game. So yeah, just looking forward to a good game on the weekend.
Cool, thanks, Ashfaq. Morgan?
Edwill, I'm so glad you spoke about the wingers now, because my next question was going to be about the arrival of an outside back, Tapiwa Mafura. I'm sure it's a guy that you played against in the Varsity Cup, and really a player that can complement your style of rugby and vice versa. So nice addition to your side going forward.
Yeah, he's a very exciting player. As you mentioned, we played a lot against other in Varsity Cup. and he was always one of the guys that the coach would mention we have to look out for. So yeah, no, very exciting to also have him in, and yeah, looking forward to play with him when he gets here.
Thanks, Morgan. Guys, we're going to wrap it up now. We've got the final two. We'll take Carl and then we'll wrap up with Sim.
Edwill, thanks for the opportunity. Maybe you must just explain to us what the difference between Bokkums and Biltong, and then he will understand why you want to stay in Johannesburg.
Kijk nou, Karl raakt nou Moscovici al. En hij heeft eerst gemaakt in de Kaap, Carl.
But Edwill, how do you think your back three or the backline must adapt their play, or are you going to adapt your play, seeing what Glasgow did in the final 20 minutes against the Bulls?
No, I don't think we really need to adapt. I think it's more so playing what's in front of us, using our opportunities. And as I mentioned earlier, when we do create opportunities, because we do create a lot of line breaks, just sometimes we don't always finish it, or the last pass doesn't stick. So it's basically having that patience when we do have line breaks and we have exciting plays, we can create something out of nothing. And when those opportunities come, just to finish it off.
And Julian, what do you expect from Glasgow on Saturday?
Yeah, interesting, because the two questions we have is, are they going to stick towards their DNA, or are they going to try to do what Munster and Cardiff did, which is kick the ball and not want to play too much? So yeah, their DNA is actually playing the ball and running the ball a lot. So yeah, we're also keen to see what they're going to bring to the party. Obviously, their DNA is running game, so we have to be prepared for that. And obviously, we know some teams do prefer to have a kicking game, a more kick and suffocate type of strategy against us. So yeah, we'll have to be prepared for both.
And taking into account it's the final match or few final matches or rounds, do you expect them to change their team a lot, or do you expect them to fight for that number one spot?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. My thoughts or my opinion would be that they would want to build momentum going into the later stages of this game. So I think they're touring with a full strength squad. I think they will pick a very strong team this weekend. I'm not sure if they will say they're going to pick a little bit less of a team this weekend and save themselves for the playoff games. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they will pick a strong side against us.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Carl. All right, Sim, take us home.
How's it, guys? How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
All good, all good. Julian, a lot has been made about the side's lack of consistency. I could be wrong, but it seems like every time you guys have come up for a fixture which was considered a tough one beforehand, you've actually been switched on for those fixtures. This being that kind of fixture, because you're playing against a team that's top of the table, do you kind of feel like that will help sort of switch you guys on?
Yeah, I think the guys will be really motivated to play this weekend. You must ask Edwill. I'm sure the guys will be really motivated to play. You always want to measure yourself against the top teams, which is not an excuse not to measure yourself against a team that is not rated well. I think when a team is at their best, is they give an opponent what they're worth. So if it's a great team, you play your best. Whether it's not as great a team, you still play your best. And so for us to play towards our best abilities, I think we still feel like we haven't played 80 minutes at our best, or even close to that this whole season. So I think Edwill alluded to it earlier, but we're looking for a consistent performance this weekend, 80 minutes of playing as good as rugby as we can, and not to focus too much on our position. But to answer your question, I think it does help when you play against a top team, even though it shouldn't make a difference, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Thank you, Sim. Ladies and gents, that concludes our session. Thank you very much for your time. Julian, Edwill, all the best, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Donkeelo.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.